Okay, for these next ones here, so self-algebraically and stating the restrictions were applicable. And so for this first one here, we have x and then the x minus 4. And immediately we could state one restriction, that x cannot be equal to 4, because here on the bottom, anytime that we're dividing by something, like with x, we don't want that thing to be equal to 0. So if we had 4 minus 4 here, that would be 0, and this is what we need to avoid. So that we can leave as our first restriction. And then as it is, it's quite awkward to solve. So what you need to do is we have to multiply everything by x minus 4 here to get rid of that in the denominator. So multiply each term by x minus 4 on the left and right side. I'll get x minus 4 just being multiplied to everything, and then x minus 4 on the left, or on the right rather, will stay 0. And then we're going to do the same and multiply through. So we're going to have here x times x minus 4 plus x minus 4 divided by x minus 4. And so here, this second term on the left side is just 1. So I'll just keep that as 1. And then we could do the same and distribute the x into the x minus 4. So we get x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. And now we have to solve this quadratic function. And so the quadratic function is not given to you, but if you need to solve a quadratic, you need to recall the formula for it. So I'm going to write it here, which is that x is equal to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2 times a, where a is 1, b is negative 4, and c is positive 1. So we have negative b, or negative 4 plus or minus, 4 squared, so 16, minus 4, a is 1, c is 1, divided by 2 times a, where a is 1. And then we just have to simplify this. So our answer here would be this negative and a negative makes positive, so you get 4 plus minus the square root of 16 minus 4, or 12, divided by 2, and so that would be your answer. So we have two answers here. We have 4 plus the square root of 12 divided by 2, and then 4 minus the square root of 12 divided by 2. And that's how you would solve this question. And on the next one now, I'll get this erased. And so I have some restrictions immediately that we could write. So just like how we said before, these denominators cannot be equal to 0. So like we could ask ourselves, like, how does each become 0? So the first term will become, the denominator of the first term will become 0 if I have x equal to 1. So I can't have that. Similarly, x cannot be 3 on the second term. And then we have a quadratic again, which is not factored. So it's not split into two terms, or sorry, two factors. So we could first do that by factoring this. So if I have x squared minus 4x plus 3, I'm looking for two numbers that will add up to give me the middle number, or middle coefficient of negative 4, and two numbers that multiply together to give me a, which in this case is 1, times c. So 1 times 3, or just 3. And so these two numbers would be minus 1 and minus 3. And negative 1 times negative 3 will also give me positive 3 here, and these two add up to negative 4. So once you figure out what that is, we're going to split this middle term, the negative 4, into whatever we have here. So we're going to do that and say x squared minus, instead of minus 4, we said we can make this into minus 1x minus 3x plus 3. And now I have two groups, and I'm going to do common factoring from each one. So from the first group that I have here, I could say that's x minus 1, and x is my first group. And then for my second group here, I have a common factor. I could take negative 3 out, and I'll be left with x minus 1. So now you see we have the same factor here. And so I'll just make a another little bracket. So we're going to factor this out as well, the x minus 1. And so from the first term, if I take out x minus 1, from the first term, I'll just be left with x. And from the second term, I'll be left with negative 3. And so here is the factored form of what we have up top here. So I'm going to rewrite this equation that we have so that we can write this in this factored form. So that's going to be 2x over x minus 1 plus 1 divided by x minus 3 equals 2 times, or 2 divided by x minus 1 and then x minus 3. And so now I'm going to look to get a common denominator for the left side. So I'm going to need to multiply both by each other. So for example, this second term needs to be multiplied by x minus 1 on the top and bottom, and then my first term here needs to be multiplied by x minus 3 on the top and bottom to get a common denominator so that we can take this and instead of having two terms, split it, add them together and write it as 1. So I'll have on the top of the first term 2x times x minus 3 plus 1 times x minus 1, all divided by the same denominator as what we have on the left side here. So it's all going to be divided by x minus 3, x minus 1, equals to 2 times x minus 3, x minus 1. And so if these two things are equal, as we say that they are, and their denominators are already the same, then whatever we have on the top has to also be the exact same. So the 2 on the left, or the right side, sorry, has to be equal to whatever we have on the left side. So we're going to basically cancel these out, these denominators, and then we're going to be left with this and say these must be equal to each other. And so because that's true, we need to solve for x here. So we're going to first expand this x, 2x rather, into the bracket. So we get 2x squared minus 6x plus x minus 1 equals 2. And then I'll move this 2 to the other side so that we have everything on one side, and then collect these like terms. So that will leave me with 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equals 0. And we have another quadratic, and just like we did before, I need to solve this using the quadratic equation, or I can solve it using the quadratic equation. Or you could otherwise factor it like we did before, finding two numbers that will add up to give you negative 5, or multiply them together to give you 2 times negative 3, where this is again a, and this is your c value, and this is your b value. Those are the coefficients of the function, a quadratic function that we have down here. But it's much easier to just find the solution by throwing it into a formula or an equation. So we're going to use that equation of negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. And so again, in this equation, my a is 2, my b is negative 5, c is negative 3. So we plug that in. Our answer will be negative b, so let's give me negative 5, plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a c divided by 2a. And so simplifying, I get positive 5 plus minus 25, and then I have 4 times 2 times negative 3, which becomes negative, so 8 times 3 will be 24, divided by 2 times 2 is 4. And so our answer here will be 5 plus or minus 25, and then two negatives make a plus here. So we can write it as plus 24. And then 25 and 24 gives me 49. So I have the square root of 49 over 4, and then the last step is that square root of 49 is actually just 7. So we're going to say this is 5 plus or minus 7 divided by 4. So our two answers for the second equation, or second question, will be 5 plus 7 divided by 4, which equals to 12 divided by 4, or 3, or x could be equal to 5 minus 7 divided by 4, which would be negative 2 over 4, or a negative a half. And so those are our two answers here. And then we already marked the restrictions at the start here, so that's the final answer.